beautiful corporate look, very sharp. Nice. Okay, so the question is, why are you running for this office, man? Are you crazy?
Yes, I am crazy. Anyone that chases leadership has got to have a screw loose, or God has appointed them and called them to do so.
I like the latter. What if someone asks you though? What would be your main reason that you're? I mean, you're very young, right? How old are you?
I'm 26.
Very young, and you're ready to take on the world. And that's barely. I think you have to be 26, right?
25.
25. Okay, I was off by a year. So you're very young. Should you get elected, you'd be one of the youngest there.
Well, I believe God's already ceased this victory. So when I get elected.
Oh, I like the confidence. Don't you like the confidence? Now, are you from this area?
I am. I've lived in 54 different locations in Phoenix. I actually went to North High School in Skyline and LA Christian and Corona and what is it? Corona? Yeah, Corona del Sol. Yeah, I've been to a lot of high schools. My parents moved around a lot. Every 90 days.
Because, may we ask?
Low-income housing, I believe, is what they call it now.
Okay, but every 90 days?
Every 90 days.
Man, you must be an expert at packing and moving.
Yeah, I got really good at living out of a box and very good at trying out for the football teams.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So you said you were in the Army?
Yeah, I'm still currently in serving as an Army chaplain. I was initially in as a 92 Yankee, but they sent me over with the infantry guys, and when you're with the infantry, you do as the infantry does, right?
So you're in the reserves? Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're still in the Army, but you're with the reserves.
Correct.
Yeah, my son's in the Army in Fort Bliss. So
that's a terrible place.
I know. He's at Fort Hood now. They're doing a special mission. But
Fort Lost in the
Can you
Woods.
talk about it?
What?
Can you talk about that? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can't talk about what he does. He's a satellite radio communication.
Georgie, we love you. Can't wait till you come back and can do the show.
He's a staff sergeant.
Okay. I joined the dark side. I was enlisted initially, and then I moved over to Ossifer. But as a chaplain, it's a specialty branch, so everyone loves us. We give candy and kiss babies. It's a beautiful thing.
Get the fun stuff, huh?
Yeah.
What area were you stationed?
I was in the South Pacific, and then I got nominated to be in a combat aviation unit in Joint Base Lewis McChord. And then from there, I got selected into the chaplain candidate program.
Thank you for your service.
Pleasure's all mine.
It's always good when I hear people, or young men or young women, serving our country, because it's a selfless job. It's something that you have to be in it, and you have to have that in your heart to do it. And sometimes you don't get paid that much. I mean, you think service people get paid a lot. They don't. They just barely survive. And
We appreciate that very, very much. In fact, at another point, we'd love for you to come back and be our military moment. We're trying to get that back. Every show we would highlight a veteran. So we'd love for you to come back at another point. We know we only have you until 4:30. So are you married, children? Tell us a little bit.
No, I'm not married. I do have 2 fur babies, though.
Oh, okay. We love doggies here.
The Army has definitely been my family in the last 7 to 8 years. I do have a lot of siblings, and I obviously have parents. It wasn't a test tube baby.
Very nice. So, there's a lot going on politically. And this particular district, now they are going to be redistricting, but what I understand is you'll be running for whatever District 7 turns into, if they change it geographically. Pretty much it'll be somewhere down in the South Mountain area,
right? I
presume, where I live.
Oh, I didn't answer your question. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
I'm running because I'm tired of the Republican and Democratic Party. I'm a firm believer in action. Your action speaks a lot. I can't hear what you say, right? We have a serious problem at Capitol Hill right now with people that want to leave a footprint rather than lay a foundation. The Republican Party has done a horrible job with mentoring the generation to come. So I'm running for 1,000 reasons, but I just got tired of the radical, socialistic, democratic left making a mockery out of my God. Now, as a conservative and a person who's got biblical, theological, sound, foundational beliefs, I have a serious problem with a woman, and I have a serious problem with people endorsing abortion, yet they go into a church and get the inauguration. There's a lot of things. I will never tell a woman what to do with her body. I can only be a light and say this is what Scripture says. And I'm a firm believer in believing if you have to question something, it's probably not right. Good rule of thumb.
Nice.
So,
you just made your first political commercial right there. Get Julian to put that on a little track, and you're ready.
Well, thank you.
That's great. As you can tell, we are big supporters of that. We just attended. Were you at the event we had, the Unplanned Movie at?
Yes.
Yes,
I
were there?
was.
So
It was a beautiful event.
I didn't see you. I was way over here.
I was in and out. They had me running somewhere else, but I did get to help set up, and I did get to help talk to some people that actually attended the event, and it was beautiful.
Had you seen the movie before?
I hadn't.
Very powerful.
Yes.
Right?
So
Telling everybody, you got to watch it. You got to see it.
I believe if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And we don't have strong conservative Republicans that are taking a stance. They're too wishy-washy, and God says be...
We don't have enough of them. You're right.
Right.
I agree with that.
Either be hot or cold. And we have too much lukewarm, too much compromising, too much feelationship rather than relationship. And nobody wants to actually connect with the people. Everybody says what they're going to do rather than asking the people, what do you need? That's your job as a representative. In the whole 26 years I've been alive, I've never seen that. Even the people that talk a big game and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and do this, the only person I've seen actually follow through and build the country for the greater good is Trump.
It's terrific.
By the way, shout out to President Donald Trump, because he's pretty much the GOAT and as far as it goes with presidential elections. And
We're deplorable, so.
yeah.
No, you're so right. He was on
Proud.
Newsmax today.
Mm.
They interviewed him for a half hour, and we miss him. I miss his hair. So that's a joke if you watch our Facebook. It's a joke. You'll have to check it out.
So that's why I'm running.
So that's I think those are very good reasons. All right. I want to ask you, we can specifically go into policy, and before we do that and we start asking you political questions, is there anything that you would like to say to our audience in a couple of minutes of why they should vote for you and why you are the best candidate?
I would say voting for me is voting for everybody. We hear unity, and yet a house divided cannot stand. The Capitol Hill is more divided than we've ever been in our history. And I'm a firm believer in being a representative of the people and not being a politician. So I want the red wave to be a collective unit of people. We need to empower the people. Voting for me will allow us to take that power back from the government and shrink it. All we hear about is we want smaller government. The Republicans talk about it a lot, yet the government's ironically getting bigger. No one's being called to the table. So it's about time we as American people and American red-blooded patriots hold their feet to the fire and call them out on their shenanigans. Enough of this is enough. So that's why I would vote for myself.
Well, I think that's a pretty good argument, isn't it?
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about things that are happening right now. Unfortunately, we don't have our guy in the office. We miss him a lot. Right now, the border is a huge, huge issue. Oh, what I want to ask you first, though. Have you always been a Republican for your voting life?
No, we all make mistakes. I voted for Clinton. I was a Democrat growing up, and like many Democrats that I've interacted with and turned red-blooded Republican, the response is, well, my parents were. Or this is, I don't know, I just voted Democrat because that's what everybody in my immediate circle did. Our people perish because of lack of knowledge. And it's the Republican Party's job to instill education and to instill the understanding of what it means to be a conservative. And I didn't know that. You can't miss what you don't know, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So I'm an inquirer by nature because of my studies. So that's ultimately what led me, and obviously God,
you.
right, into being a Republican conservative. I would prefer just to say follower of Christ, honestly, because it's not about the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, or the Conservative Party. It's about Christ and calling his people back to unity.
Like that. There's another commercial. Right there. You're killing it.
How do you how do you divide race with politics?
Light green, dark green.
You don't see color.
Well, I feel like that's a genetic fallacy in itself. I do see color. I've got 2015 vision. But as Martin...
2015 vision.
2015.
Wow.
I'm a good shot. Those who like guns. Pro 2 Alpha, right? Nice. I digress. What I would say to that is, we judge a person by their character, not by their color. I think that was like Martin Luther King.
Content of their character.
Right. We've got selective hearing, just like we have selective sight and selective speaking. We have the Christian community, conservative community, has been in cancel culture since the beginning of time. specifically Christians or people that take a faith stance. But now they're doing it to the Republican Party. Now you have the Republican Party saying, oh, well, you should say this that way to appeal to these people so you can do X, Y, Z and get A, B, C. Well, if we're truly conservative and we truly serve the living God, from where does your help come from? It's not a PAC. It's not a Republican Party. It's the living God himself. He wants to drop $1 million out of the sky, then so be it. But I think people really need to be authentic and less synthetic. If you say you're a conservative and a follower of Christ, I would expect to see that, and I'd expect you to act as such.
Well, I can certainly see why you're a fan of Trump as well. Because Trump, you get what you see.
I've grown up with all kinds of races, and I never look at a person by their race. I'm Puerto Rican. Half my family, most of my family is black.
Puerto Rican.
But I don't look at it that way. I look at you, I judge you by your character. That's why I love Martin Luther King. He says, judge them by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. I have this last few years, it has actually brought race into politics and race into everything, and it's wrong.
You know what I find ironic? The devil is really good at masking things. The Democratic Party is one of the most prejudiced, racist parties on the planet. They say equality, and they say well, now they're saying all lives matter. First it was black lives, now it's Hispanic lives, now it's Asian lives, and it's almost like all lives matter, but I digress. Just like they didn't want to build the wall, now they want to build the wall.
Yeah, now they want to fix and maybe rebuild it, keep building it. Is that what I heard today?
It's funny how that works, right? It's almost like Trump was doing exactly what we needed in this country. But yet they tried to silence him and cancel him and shut him down on, all the big tech. We'll talk about that another time because I've got my opinions on that as well.
I know we're not going to have enough time to talk about everything. We've got 5 minutes. So let's take that first. Let's take border disorder.
So I think a merit bill needs to be put in place. I don't believe Americans have ever been prejudiced to wanting people to come into this country. But what I do think Americans want is to strengthen our economy and the infrastructure for the future generations to come. And we can't do that if we're giving handouts rather than hand-ups. So we need a merit bill. We need something that says, hey, you can come to our country, we'd love to have you, but what are you going to do for the country?
And didn't we already kind of have that? If our immigration policy, most people don't know, 1 million people are legally allowed to immigrate to our country. That's 1 million people, and they do it the right way. So it's sad that we have to, you're probably right, we have to create another bill and just define it more. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. And I'm working diligently with people, even though I'm not in the seat. I've always learned in the military, act as if you're 2 ranks above in the same sense. I'm not really worried about the current person in the seat holder position because he doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, we need a merit bill. It's actually going to help the Hispanic, black, and white community because everyone always says, all white people are white privilege. I'm still waiting on that white privilege card. Free pumpkin spice latte, my credit goes up. Apparently that's what happens, but that's besides the point.
I don't know. My husband's why he's never seen that. If you talk to him, he has had a hard life, I'll say. All right, so we got the border, and don't mean to rush you, just we don't have all that much time. So let's talk about this $1 trillion debt. Trillions and trillions. Is that bothering you?
It's bothering me, and it should be bothering everybody else, because unfortunately, I may never pay it, but I know who's going to pay it. It's my kids and my kids' kids.
And your kids, yeah.
So if we truly say we're for America, America collectively means the generations to come. Notice I keep emphasizing the generations to come because the future of this nation is in their hands, whether we like to admit it or not. So we have to stop looking down on our youth because, they're young, this and that. Well, you have so much knowledge and wisdom. Who are you mentoring and who are you pouring into? That $1 trillion stimulus bill passed because of lack of knowledge, because we're not educating people.
Alex, that's a great, great message, and we are like that. We love having a younger conservative, and there are a lot of younger people who are conservative, and they're getting educated and realizing what's out there. So I just love absolutely that you said that. I want you to take the last couple of minutes and give out your website, how people can contact you, again, where you're going to be tonight and where you might be, and how to stay in touch with you.
Yeah, so Alex for Arizona, FOR.com is the website. Alex@alexforarizona.com is my email address. Alex for Congress is the Facebook page. And then you also have Instagram, Alex for Arizona, and then Alex Stovall for Twitter.
You're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
I can find you.
Say hi to the people.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Yeah, I actually show up places, unlike the guy that I'm running against, but that's besides the point. By the way, he also wants to open the borders while he lives walled in his castle. It's almost ironic the way that works, right? Open the borders, and they're doing the same thing at the White House. They're barricading everything off from the people.
When are those guys going to get to go home?
Interesting.
You know? Oh.
Do as I say, not as I do. Obey and consume, right? Interesting.
And if somebody wants to sign, they live in your district and they want to sign your petition?
Yes. You would go to the petition website, and the link is also posted on the Facebook page as well.
Okay, great. They can find you. All right.
Oh,
Alex, go ahead.
2070 East Baseline Road in Phoenix is where we're going to be hosting our stock market training. So those of you out there who are interested in creating passive income, and even if you're not interested and you want your kids to actually understand the value of a dollar and why the stock market is the greatest thing ever, because I nerd out about that, please do come.
And
Good
it does
education.
work.
And that's at 2070 East Baseline. It's right next to the Bank of America. Sorry to cut you off, but we got like 20 seconds. Alex Lara here with.
Don Jorge.
Thank you, Alex Stovall, CD7 candidate. We hope to have you back when we have more time with you. And maybe we'll see you later tonight.
Alrighty, thank you. You guys be blessed.
All right, thank you so much. Guacan, we'll be right back with